Hey, a question. Whoa, okay. What the f- Hello everyone, my name is Vapechilla, your average Pinoy vape reviewer, and today we'll be answering some of your questions. So about a week ago I told you guys that I was doing a Sunday Q&A, and here it is! I accepted questions both from Facebook and the YouTube comments. So with a coin toss, let's decide who goes first. So heads is for Facebook and tails is for YouTube. I screwed that one up. Facebook goes first. The first question comes from Paul James Bravo. He asks, dude, any suggestions for a dual bat mech mod? If I didn't know what mod you have, I would tell you to get the Kalasag. However, I already know that you have one. Though anything else, my first full mech mod was a Brainbox V2, and I bet the new Brainboxes are pretty good as well, although they are copper. If I were to buy another dual bat mech mod, it would probably be another silver plated one. Maybe the GTR by GI Mods? Next question comes from Abdullah Riyad. I Google translated your name because I couldn't read that. Hope I pronounced it right. He asks, how old are you? Do you like anime? Games? I'm turning 20 in June. And yes, I do like anime. I've watched several episodes of Naruto, Attack on Titan, and a bit of One Piece. I used to watch a lot more when I was a kid, but I honestly can't remember. I do play some fighting games, like Naruto Storm 3 and Injustice. However, I always get brutally beaten by my friends. Though I am good at FPS games, mostly Call of Duty to be exact, and FIFA. The next question comes from Yanis Damanakis. I also Google translated your name. Cool name. He asks, hey Vapechilla, what's your thought on the eLeaf iJust-S? Hold on, let me check it out. I've actually never seen this mod. That's pretty cool. These mods look freaking amazing. $15. Dude, that's pretty good value. My only concern with it is if you can actually rebuild your coils. A pretty nice starter kit. Next question comes from Alan de Jesus. Translated, he asks, why does my tube mod heat up so quickly, and why don't LG Choco batteries work in my dual bat mech mod? I can tell you a couple reasons why your tube mod heats up so quickly. 1. Your build is pretty low. 2. The batteries you are using. LG Choco batteries are not a high performance battery. They are only 20 amps. For example, with 4.2 volts, using a 0.15 ohm build, you are forcing 28 amps through your battery. Now the maximum discharge rate of an LG Choco is 20 amps. That means 8 amps higher, which is why it would heat up. And to answer your other question, I really don't suggest using LG Choco batteries with high performance builds. Now I'm not entirely sure why they don't work. Try AWT40A. Pretty reliable. The next question comes from Honor Gray. Vapechilla, when you started vaping, were you doing it to quit smoking or doing it for fun? And how do you feel about teens vaping? Well, I started vaping to quit smoking. Before I started vaping, I was on and off cigarettes for about 2 or 3 years, and what really urged me to stop was when I realized what it was doing to me. At my worst, I was going through 1.5 packs a day. My stamina was just really bad. I couldn't even hold my breath for more than 20 seconds. And before I started smoking, I could hold it for 1.5 minutes. How do I feel about teens vaping? How do I answer this? The vape industry is booming right now. And of course, teenagers are gonna wanna try it, just like how teenagers wanna try cigarettes. But at this moment, vaping has yet to become mainstream. So any bad press from teenagers vaping, and that could set vaping back quite a bit. So if you're a teenager and you want to vape, ask your parents. Or if you don't want to ask your parents, do it in the house. Don't do it outdoors where adults or police can see you, because that'll just make a bad image of vaping. Ask your parents if you're allowed to. Next question comes from Angela Marie Sab. She asks, how do you convince older adults that vaping is really not bad? The popcorn lungs issue always gives vaping such a bad rep. Phew. How do I answer this in less than 5 minutes? Okay, let me answer this in the most summarized version possible. The popcorn lung issue was an over-exaggerated lie. These huge tobacco companies funded the research in vaping chemicals, and in some juices they found the slightest bit of diacetyl. Now rewind all the way back to the 90s. It happened to be an incident in a popcorn factory, where the workers there inhaled the diacetyl and got popcorn lung from it. Now everybody thought, oh no, if I inhale diacetyl, I will get popcorn lung. What they failed to mention was that they inhaled powdered diacetyl, and that is way much worse than vaporized diacetyl. Another thing they failed to mention was how much diacetyl is in e-juice. The thing is, there was so little it was barely noticeable. Now this was bad because people didn't know what diacetyl was, and people freaked out. causing them to switch from vaping back to cigarettes. But little do you know, cigarettes do have way more diacetyl. E-juice companies nowadays avoid using diacetyl, so there's nothing to worry about. So far, nobody's gotten popcorn lung from vaping. If you'd like to read more about this, I'm gonna put a link in the description to an article that I read a very long time ago. Next question comes from Josh Anderson. He asks, can you do a tornado? Love your vids, by the way. Thank you, and I hope that answers your question. Next question comes from Leo Bourne. He asks, should I be vaping even though I am underaged? This is really similar to Honor's question. Personally, I think you should wait.
Finally!
On to the YouTube questions. This first question comes from a guy who wishes to be called Poseidon. He asks, all hail lightning bolt. Maybe that means Zeus? Suh, dude. I'm a tube user because for me it's handy, but I'm thinking of buying a parallel box. Any suggestions? By the way, your vids are way too sick. Poseidon. First off, suh, dude. Suh. Parallel box mods. There's so many to choose from. If you've got 5,700 pesos, join Team Kalasag. If you're an experienced user, I would say go straight to silver plated. But if you're on a budget, go for a copper mod instead. Thank you, O Lord of the Sea, for asking a question. Next question comes from Enzo Spike the King Ban. He asks, do you think you might paint your hair or re-bleach it? If so, what color? I think blue would be cool. Believe it or not, I used to have purple hair. I kinda wish my hair was a bit longer when I dyed it, but it was nice while it lasted. Every now and then I think of dyeing it again. Not sure what color. Blue sounds pretty cool though. What do you guys think? Our next question comes from Mark Vandersand. He asks, what do you think is the best starter or budget vape setup? This is a little bit of a tough question just because you use the word best. Personally, I think there really is no best. It depends on the person. But if you want a couple mods, the Alien Smock, the Dripbox 160, if you're still a beginner, I highly suggest you try Kangertech. Hope I helped. Next question comes from Will McCoon. McCune? He asks, hey Vapechilla, I'm just getting started with vaping. Would a Smock Alien 220 be too much for a beginner? And also, I don't smoke, so I'm not getting from the habit, so do you recommend the nicotine or no? I do like the burn and buzz from it, but I do not want to get hooked. I appreciate it. Will, if you're truly a beginner, like no experience at all, perhaps the Smock Alien might be a bit too much for you. However, if you have vapor friends that can help you rebuild the coils, go for it, man. I highly doubt you'll be upgrading your mod for a long time. Personally, I went step by step. I went from this 30 watt Kanger sub box to this 200 watt X-Cube 2, and finally the non-variable power of mech mods. About the nicotine. If you're vaping on 3mg right now, and you're getting a buzz, great, stay that way. But if you're truly worried about getting hooked, I suggest just sticking to 0mg. Next question comes from Chaz Lang. He asks, what's your opinion on the Wismec Rulo RX300? There's an RX300. Last time I heard there was an RX200. Whoa, it's a quad battery. 300 watts. I am a little disappointed on the fact that you can only go down to 0.1 ohms. I mean, it's a quad battery. It should be safe, right? But if you put 4 LG HB2 batteries in there, battery life for days. 12,000 milliamp hours. Insane. It's a pretty cool mod, man. The next question comes from Blurio Gaming. He asks, hey Vapechilla, can you please do a tutorial on how to blow consistent O-rings? I've been doing it for a while and sometimes I can get far pushed O's and sometimes I don't. You have a great tutorial channel. I learned how to do the ghost trick from you. Keep up the good work. Thanks man, glad I helped you. Now I've been meaning to do a tutorial on how to do O's for such a long time. But please bear with me guys. Explaining how to blow an O is so difficult. How do you describe a cough to someone like halfway around the world, you know? Doing them is one thing, explaining them is so much harder. So please bear with me guys. I want to make a tutorial so easy that anyone can learn it. Now about your problem with consistency. You're gonna hate this answer, but practice makes perfect, man. When you practice, you lock on the technique and you can do it every single time. I've practiced so much and see how many times I can hit the camera with the O. Okay, I lost track of how many that was. Now because I practice a lot, I'm able to lock down the technique and become as consistent as possible. Now your problem might be either consistency, or you might need to tweak your technique a little. I hope I help, man. Next question comes from William Woodruff. He asks, I only subbed like 2 days ago, but I enjoy how... but I enjoy how you're just not a douchebag. You seem to enjoy what you're doing, and you seem to add comedy you honestly think is funny. It all seems very real. Thanks a lot, man. His question is, where do you get your background music from? I plan on starting to release music that would work in the background of videos. You know what, man? That's a great idea. When I was trying to find background music, it was so freaking hard. From anyone else who's curious about my background music, it's in the description below. The title is called I Live All Alone by Tompa Beats. I use the loop version from Angie Potato. So make sure to visit those two people in the description below. By the way, William, if you come up with any music, feel free to message me through my Facebook or through email, vapechilla@gmail.com. Next question comes from Angie S. She asks, what is the weirdest juice you've ever vaped? My reply to that is corn juice. I bought the juice one day, I vaped it the next day. Advice is on cloud chasing. Thanks. 2 things to getting the biggest cloud. 1, your setup. Usually lower resistance coils are the best. 2, you're exhaling when you cloud chase. Yes, it might seem like the easiest thing to do, but no. It's quite an art. Usually the best thing is density, but you also need length. That is what determines the size of the cloud. Here's an example for you. Oh, and by the way, use the highest VG you can find. So you can see with my technique, I empty out my lungs. Second, I fill my lungs with as much vapor as possible. Third, exhale. It's literally just this. Yeah, that's it. And the last thing to remember, don't choke. It's really embarrassing when you're in a cloud competition and you end up choking. Hope that helped, Dominique. Finally, the last question comes from Ansis Abel. He asks, how old are you and where are you from? Do a trick showcase. Ansis, I am 19, going on 20 in June, and I'm from the Philippines. And a trick showcase. I can do one really quick right now. Obviously, I don't have enough space right now to really show off, but I can do shark splits, bow tie splits, vert splits, horizontal splits, shark bends, and I'm starting to learn triple splits. I'm actually working on making a trick video, but if you want to see a really old video of me, here's a small preview of it. You can find it on my Facebook page, or link in the description. Before we end this video, I have one question for you guys. Would you like a weekly or twice a week video? Now, I'm not quite sure. Personally, I was thinking about a vlog, but my life ain't exciting. So what do you guys think? Suggest a video series in the comments below that would appear once a week or twice a week, along with the reviews. I'm interested to see what you guys have in mind. Now, on to the outro. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe down below to stay tuned for more videos in the future. If you have any ideas for a weekly series, make sure to comment down below and I will reply. I also have a Facebook page where I post extra content, so make sure to visit that in the description below. Till next time.